First, I'll clone the earthy block I just made and create a grassy version. When I'm adding new sculptures or paintings to an existing creation, I always change visual feedback to minimal in my preferences. This means I can see more clearly how the creations are working together visually. It does make it less obvious when you're scoped into groups and elements though, so I'll need to be mindful of that. I'll use a similar sculpting technique as before, but in green with a streaky fleck to create the grassy topping. I simply sculpt a layer of grass on the flat top of the earth block, like I'm icing a cake. I want it a bit lumpy, but not too lumpy, as the puppet needs to walk on it. The edges of the walkable area should be nice and clear, so the player knows where they can safely walk. When I'm done sculpting, I go to style mode and turn up the impasto, ruffle and looseness to get the grass effect. A tiny hint of the wave effect simulates a breeze and makes the scene feel more alive. Next, I scope into the earthy block again and spray paint around the edges of the grass with the green tumbler colour. This blends in the hard edge of the grass to make it less artificial. I also like to add some paint strokes with surface snap to the grass. I give them the same fleck, impasto and ruffle as the grass sculpture, but make them a little bit longer. This will break up the grass and make it seem more natural and less like a golf course. I'm also making another variant with just the paint strokes straight onto the earth and blended using spray paint like before. This will make a good blend between the full grass and no grass blocks. You can also use a green shape set to subtract to carve a path into the grass. I like to make a few variants so I know I can reuse in many different places and that will blend together well. Remember to try and get away with making as few variants as possible. You can always add more later. I also set their surface types too, like I did for the basic block. When I've made my variants, I group each one's constituent parts. This makes them easier to move and clone around when assembling them. Before I start cloning them, I save them all out as sculpture elements. Now I'm done making terrain, so let's go to the next step and make some rocks when you're ready.